Hey everyone, welcome back to my weekly reading update. I hope you're doing well. This week I didn't mean to, but somehow I ended up deep in sci-fi and time travel. So if you like stories that mess with timelines and make you think about life choices, maybe a little too much, I'm the same. First up this week, I finished Replay by Ken Grimwood. I went into this one mostly knowing the basic idea, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I actually did. The whole setup is pretty simple. A man dies and then wakes up earlier in his life with all his memories. And he gets to live everything over again. And then it happens again and again. At first, that sounds kind of fun. Like fix your mistakes, avoid bad decisions, and maybe make some money along the way. But the book does this really nice thing where it doesn't just stay in that wish fulfillment space. It actually starts showing how strange and lonely that would feel. You're living multiple versions of the same life, but no one else remembers any of it. And you can't really explain what's happening to anyone without sounding completely unhinged. And that adds this quiet emotional weight to the story. And what I liked is that it's very readable. The writing isn't super complicated or heavy, so it's easy to get through. But the ideas still stick with you. There are moments where I caught myself thinking uh, what I would do in that situation, which is always when I know a book is working for me. And by the end, it felt less like a cool sci-fi concept and more like a story about time, regret, and figuring out what actually makes a life feel meaningful. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. If you like time travel stories that focus more on feelings and choices than on the science explanations, I think this is a great pick. And next I started Time and Again by Clifford Simic. This one is also about time travel, but it feels very different from Replay. The vibe is much more old school sci-fi, and it's way more focused on ideas and concepts than on just following one character's emotional journey. And so far, I'm finding the first half pretty confusing. There's a lot happening, and the book doesn't really slow down to explain things in a clear way right away. It kind of throws you into the deep and expects you to swim. There's time travel, aliens, first contact, androids trying to become like humans, and there's a time war in the background where certain people from the future try to kill someone and others trying to prevent it from happening. So there's a lot going on. I don't dislike it, but it's definitely not a casual read for me. This is the kind of book where I can't be tired or distracted while reading it, because if I zone out for a page, I'm immediately lost. And I've had a couple of moments where I had to go back and reread a section because I realized I had no idea what just happened. That being said, I do appreciate that it feels ambitious. It feels like one of those classic sci-fi books that's more interested in exploring big ideas than in being super fast-paced or super easy. So I'm going to stick with it and see how everything comes together. And I feel like this is one of those books where the payoff is probably more about the overall message than about the plot being super exciting. And next up on my list is The Glass Weaver's Tale and Other Stories by Guy Ridderhoe. This is a sci-fi short story collection. And honestly, after two books that are messing with time and big ideas, short stories sound perfect. I love having something I can pick up, read one story and then put down without feeling like I have to remember a ton of details from chapter to chapter. And I found this book through another booktube channel by the Eternal Reader, and I've been trying to branch out more with sci-fi recommendations instead of just sticking to the same few authors I always read. And his reviews of all the short stories made me just super excited to pick it up as well. And now seems like the perfect time to do so because February isn't over yet and I've run out of reads for the month. So I'm hoping for stories that are creative, a little strange, maybe the kind of thing that makes you pause for a second after you finish one and go, no, that was cool. Even if not every story is a hit, short story collections are fun because you usually end up with at least one or two that really stick with you. So overall, this week was very much a sci-fi, time travel, thinking about life kind of week for me. And I think after this, I might want something lighter or cozier, just to balance out all the brain heavy stuff. But also knowing me, I'll probably just pick up another sci-fi book and keep this theme going without meaning to. And if you've read any of these, I'd love to hear what you thought, especially replay, because I feel like that one hits differently depending on where you are in life. And also, if you've read any real good sci-fi lately, feel free to drop recommendations. I'm always down to add more to my TBR, even though it's already way too long. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me for this weekly update. I hope to see you again in the next one.